Well, since I was small, my dad has been very, very involved in Tzu Chi, and his involvement in Tzu Chi and growing up with Tzu Chi has really made me, I feel like, much more compassionate, and it really instilled in me the value of service in life. And so that's something really special to me that even till this day I continue to really value. Changes in my father, I think that's a little more difficult for me, but I think he really loves the work he does for Tzu Chi. I can tell it really comes from his heart. And so for me, seeing how passionate he is about Tzu Chi, seeing him go to almost every event that he can really inspires me as well. And so, since I was small, he took me to the back-to-school food drives where I would volunteer, and also, I went to visit the medical center, and I volunteered with the COVID vaccination sites. For me, if there's one word to describe Tzu Chi, I feel like it'd be compassion, because, I think from all the events I've seen, every event that you do really comes from the heart. It really comes from seeing things from other people's perspective and putting yourself in that position as well. And so I think if there was any word to describe any work that you do or anyone in the organization, it'd be compassion, yeah. Just seeing, for me, even though I went just to visit with my father, it brought a new perspective to me as well. Because, I was able to see all these families and see their experience and what they have to go through. And it really makes me appreciate what I have. So yeah, it does definitely influence me because I was born and grew up in America, right? But inherently, I feel very Taiwanese or Asian. And so I think I have this unique blend of having an American experience and a more Asian experience as well. And so I think that has definitely influenced my perspective. Even though I grew up there and I may have I grew up there and have a lot of American experiences, at heart, I ultimately feel more Asian. Since I was growing up, you see a lot of my American friends, we had just a lot of different values in general. For example, familial values. I know in Asian culture, family is very, very important, right? And so for me, that has always been the number one thing that I value. And so when I grew up and I saw my American friends speak back to their parents, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that's not acceptable in Asian culture. Or for example, 我们要拖鞋, right, in the house, and that's something that when I grew up with seeing my American friends didn't do, I'd be like, oh, I can't do that, right? So those are just some cultural differences that immediately I notice and continue, I think, to set us apart. Since when I was smaller, I was discriminated for my Asian identity. And so since then, it became one of my main goals to not only empower myself, but also empower other people in the community who have also gone through a similar experience of, at one time, maybe feeling ashamed of their Asian identity or feeling like they're not good enough, right? And so So since then, it's been one of my main goals. I think one of the most, positive perspectives I've gained is the power of diversity and inclusion in everything that we do, right? Especially after going through the training process for Miss Taiwanese American and then now Miss Asia USA. This all special is the different perspectives that I get every single day whenever I go to an event or whenever I have an interview, right? I gain a different kind of experience and perspective. So it's really the diverse perspectives and beliefs that I see every day where I continue to bring that into my own, own mind and experiences as well. The journey has definitely been very long, and sometimes there are a lot of challenges. There are times in my journey, some things I do will not always receive positive feedback, especially when you're trying to, in life we have to balance a lot of things. For me, it's this title that I have with school, but what's most important is the resilience that you have to continue to push forward no matter what obstacles that you face. We've seen so many developments recently in technology, right? The ChatGPT or a lot of other developments. Actually, last summer I worked as a intern at a AI company in Taiwan, and through that experience, I did a lot of back-end development and coding as well. I also did a lot of the marketing for them, and so what I noticed through my experience was that even as far as technology can take us or AI can take us, there are also negative impacts from it. And I think that's something that for future considerations, something that we will have to consider more because technology will continue to develop, but the downside of it is also the ethical considerations of it, especially some people will use it to maybe do some more negative impacts, right? And so I think even though technology will continue to develop, it's important to make sure that it continues to align with human needs and what is best for the future and humans as well. I most enjoy, or what makes it fulfilling for me, is to make sure it's ultimately doing something that's beneficial for the world. Because nowadays social media plays such a big part of our lives. I think that to have a platform is such a powerful thing that we can have, and if we don't utilize it to do the right things, then the platform is basically useless. And because I like to see things that will help other people, and so with my major, even though it is engineering and business, I want to make sure that it aligns with my values as well. I think sustainable development recently has been a bigger and bigger issue today, and it's very important. We see climate change continue to affect our world, and if we continue to not pay attention to it, ultimately, it could affect all of us, not just a portion of us, but the entire world. And so I think, especially for the younger generation, it's very important to see how our actions, the actions that we do every day, especially even in terms of the food that we eat, right? What we waste every single day continues to play a factor in how it plays a bigger role in the world overall and our climate. And so, since I was small, he took me to the back-to-school food drives where I would volunteer. And also, I went to visit the medical center, and I volunteered with the COVID vaccination sites. And just seeing, for me, even though I went just to visit with my father, it brought a new perspective to me as well, because I was able to see all these families and see their experience and what they have to go through, and it really makes me appreciate what I have. I think Tzu Chi has done amazing things for the society and our world, and I continue to see all the developments that it continues to make, and I'm continuously inspired by the work that you do every single day. And I want to wish you just the best of luck, and I hope to continue to be involved in Tzu Chi and to do as much as possible.
In the video too.
Oh, thank you.
Tiffany is so pretty like Barbie.
Oh, thank you.
But with wisdom and love. 对，有智慧。Heart.